Your voice doesn't create authenticity. Authenticity creates a powerful voice. Welcome to the Foster Your Voice podcast with me, Kristi Foster. After a 30-year career in music and theater, I never imagined I'd be coaching trial attorneys. But once I entered your world, I quickly realized how critical and underutilized voice is in the courtroom. The truth is, you don't win trials with brute strength. You win with your voice. I'll give you tools to unlock your voice so you can communicate not just with purpose, but on purpose. If you want quick action tips to help you stay calm and in control, keep jurors engaged, and inspire your listeners to action, all through the power of your voice, you're in the right place. I'm Kristi Foster, and I'm here to help you foster your voice. Hello, Foster fam. Hey, welcome back. I'm excited for today's episode. In fact, I just might get a little preachy, a little fired up. It's just that it's really important to me that you understand this concept. I deeply, deeply want you to hear it, internalize it, and understand it in your core. So, how's that for a setup? Before we dive in, here's just a quick point of curiosity or interesting find. This month in particular, I feel like I've been talking a lot about how the brain is always looking for patterns and is always trying to predict things. But when it doesn't have a framework for what it's scanning, what it's taking in, things get a little jumbled. So I'm putting a link in the show notes to an Instagram reel that I came across that just perfectly demonstrates this concept. The presenter, well, the guy on the reel, he played an audio recording that was distorted and all garbled up. I couldn't understand any of it, really. Then he played a clear recording where, of course, I could easily understand everything being said. But then he played the first garbled recording again, and wouldn't you know it, I could hear the message through the distortion with no problem at all. Now, my brain had a context. It had a framework to understand. Your jury is needing the same. They need a little heads up as to why they're even being asked these questions in jury selection. Because when you ask just generalized questions, their brain will send them down all kinds of paths that may have nothing to do with your actual case. Then, when they find out what your actual case is really about, they'll be pissed at you for leading them astray. Now, it's really because they feel silly that they went down this wrong path. And did their contribution mean anything at all? But you could have helped them, and you didn't. Now, some of you have the opportunity to do mini openings prior to jury selection. This can serve the purpose of giving that context. You don't get to do any advocacy or presentation of evidence, of course, but you can at least give context for why everyone is dressed in their Sunday best and sitting in the courtroom. If you're not doing mini openings, then for the love of the jury, start your voir dire with a brief context statement. This is about a hospital. This is about road safety. This is about safety in the workplace. I mean, just something. Just something. If you don't, you may be leaving your jury with one garbled, distorted audio clip. Hey, real quick, if your jurors look confused when you say liability, standard of care, or damages, they're not tuning out because they don't care. They're tuning out because they don't speak law. I've put together a free guide called Top 20 Legal Terms to Avoid and What to Say Instead. It'll help you simplify your language without losing credibility, so your message actually lands. Download it now at fostervoicestudio.com/top20 or click the link in the show notes. All right, back to the episode. One of my favorite parts of this work, truly one of the greatest privileges, is getting to hear what I call the most unique voice in the world every single time I meet with someone new. In my vocal snapshot sessions, try saying that 5 times fast. Vocal snapshot sessions, I get to listen to, analyze, and interpret the voices of people from all over the country. And every single time I'm reminded, no one else in the world has a voice like yours. Your voice is cellular. It's literally made up of muscle fibers and cells that belong only to you. That's extraordinary. So when someone sits across from me and I ask my first question, do you like your voice? I'm always a little surprised by what happens next. Most people pause, sigh a little, and say, not really. Or sometimes just a flat out, no. It just breaks my heart a little every time. because before we ever talk about tone, breath, pitch, or volume, we have to talk about relationship. Specifically, the relationship you have with your own voice. Here's what I always remind them. You already have people in your life who love your voice. You have children who are comforted by it, a partner who softens when they hear it, friends who can pick your voice out of a crowd and instantly smile. So your voice, as it is right now, has been faithfully carrying you through every conversation, every argument, every laughter-filled moment of your life. So before you try to fix it, honor it. Your foundational voice is your baseline. That's your home. And once you've accepted it and honored it, then we can build on it. See, the goal isn't to completely change your voice. I don't want you to sound like me or your favorite podcaster or that one attorney you admire who commands the room with this thunderous voice. I want you to understand your sound, where it's strong, where it's steady, and where it sometimes cracks under pressure. Because when you understand it, you can work with it. Knowledge is power. Knowledge is power. Once you know the strengths and potential weak spots, you can do the work to grow, to expand your range, deepen your resonance, and strengthen your confidence. That's where real development begins. Now, here's where it gets a little tricky. Not in your vocal cords, but in your mind. When I ask people to describe their voice, I get all kinds of responses. It's too deep. It's too nasally. I sound like a hick. I'm too soft spoken. I sound fake when I try something new. I'm no actress. And I get it. I've heard these same sentences from high-level trial attorneys, singers, executives, teachers, everyone. But here's what's actually happening. These self-assessments turn into anchors. They weigh you down. They become a mental script that keeps you small, even when your body is ready to grow. And when you do start experimenting, when you begin to breathe differently, speak louder, pause longer, or add emotion, Your brain starts fighting back. It says, "You sound fake. You're not being authentic. People will think you're performing." That's just your brain's protective mechanism. It doesn't mean you're doing it wrong. It means you're doing something new. Remember, your brain equates new with unsafe. It wants the certainty of the familiar, even if the familiar isn't serving you anymore. So instead of judging the discomfort, interpret it correctly. It's just a sign of growth. I recently attended a live coaching session with my favorite mindset teacher, John Acuff. You hear me fangirl over him a lot. He said something that hit me hard, and he said, "Your work isn't who you are. Your work is a byproduct of knowing who you are." I'm going to say that again. Your work isn't who you are. Your work is a byproduct of knowing who you are. I loved that. And I think we can expand it into this world of communication because your voice isn't who you are either. Your voice is a byproduct of knowing who you are. Your voice doesn't create authenticity. Authenticity creates a powerful voice. Say that again for the people in the back. Your voice doesn't make you authentic. It reveals the authenticity that's already there. When you start exploring new vocal possibilities, expanding your range, adding tone color, shifting rhythm, your brain might say, "This feels fake," but it's not fake. You're not borrowing someone else's voice. You're creating new sound from within your own body, your cells, your muscles, your breath. You can't get more authentic than that. That's not performance, that's embodiment. Authenticity isn't about comfort, it's about alignment. When you find alignment between your inner state and your outward expression, when your tone, your breath, your body language, and your message all point in the same direction, that's authenticity. Your voice is simply the instrument that reveals that alignment to the world. So if your voice shakes when you're speaking truth, that's authentic. If it grows stronger as your confidence builds, that's authentic. If it expands into new colors and dynamics as you grow, that's authentic too. Don't confuse new with inauthentic. You're not changing who you are. You're uncovering more of who you are. And when you can stand in that, when you can own the full spectrum of your voice, from that soft compassion to firm authority, you become magnetic. Because here's the secret: jurors and clients, even your family, they don't want perfect voices. They want real ones. Real voices make people lean in. Real voices invite connection. Real voices lead. So, as you move through your week, I want you to do two things. First, notice your voice. Start with awareness. When you hear it on a recording or feel it vibrate in your chest, resist the urge to critique. Don't assign a quality to it. Instead, just say, "That's mine. That's mine." Then you can ask it to grow. And then try one new thing, just one. A little more volume, a slower pace, a new emotional tone, and just notice what happens. Your voice isn't a mask that you wear. It's the most personal, powerful, and revealing part of who you already are. So stop trying to sound authentic. Stop trying to perform authenticity and start letting your authentic self sound. Until next time, honor your foundation and keep fostering your voice. Thanks for pulling up a seat with me today and for being part of the Foster fam. Make sure you're subscribed to the podcast so you don't miss a single episode. And while you're at it, go ahead and leave a review or a comment so I can give you a shout out on a future episode. During the week, you can find me on Instagram at Foster Voice Studio, where I'm dropping little nuggets of vocal technique and leadership wisdom. You can also join my mailing list by visiting fostervoicestudio.com or by clicking the link in the show notes. I'll send a weekly vocal tip every Tuesday directly to your inbox. Until then, keep fostering your voice.